Hi guys, welcome to another episode of LiveFearless. Today we're going to talk about something very interesting. Questions you should ask yourself before you decide to get married. For years together, girls had no say in the husband that they could have or the families they wanted to get married to. The constant pressure of not being a burden on their parents or the biological clock ticking or even judgments of the society if you didn't get married at a certain point in time have constantly pressurized women to get married as soon as they attained an age which was eligible for marriage. और इतना chaos कि शादी करानी है, but nobody really bothered to find out कि जो आप शादी कर रहे हो, are you doing it for the right reasons? I don't think anybody's really ever asked this question. One of the biggest milestones in every parent's life has been to get their daughters married. Add to that the whole arranged marriage scenario in India, and there is a checklist from the boys' side which the girls had to fit in. Slim, beautiful, tall, homely. Well, these were the words that are used basically to describe what kind of girls men want to get married to. So why are we even talking about this topic, and what are the things that you should consider before you think about getting married? Marriage as an institution has been around for really long, right? But in the entire chaos of getting married, we've actually missed out on what are the reasons that you're looking to get married. Girls these days, not just in big cities, even in small towns, have grown up with aspirations, their dreams and things they want to do. They are no longer dependent on their father or their husband for their survival. So it's moved beyond not being a burden on a husband or a father on what they want to do in their life. So now it's very important that we have our checklist on what we want to look for in a marriage rather than what a marriage is seeking out of us. Marriage is a lifelong commitment, but we are so lost in the fancifulness of the concept that we sometimes really forget to ask ourselves the practical questions. Why exactly are we getting married? What are our priorities in life, and do they fit into the whole scheme of marriage when we choose to do so? Point number 1. Are you getting married because of societal pressure? The typical parents का pressure है, aunties पूछ रही है. Well, can't be the reason you want to get married, right? क्योंकि rest of your life आप जीने वाली हो, ये aunties नहीं जीने वाली. So you have to decide that you want to get married or you don't want to get married. So point number 2, are you scared to live alone? Okay, companionship is a very legit reason to get married to somebody. But that cannot be the only reason. You have to be happy with your company, because unless you're happy with your company, you're not going to be able to make somebody else happy with you. Another thing is, just because you're scared to live alone all your life, you cannot make a wrong decision, right? Unless you're really convinced about that person. So if you really find somebody and you really want to get married to, please, I do not want to be alone for the rest of my life. Be the reason why you're marrying somebody. The third reason, biological clock is ticking. Yes, for women, it's a very, very legitimate reason to consider this. But seriously, I think science is really advanced now that even in your 30s, you can easily have children. So there's no pressure, to want to go ahead and get married in your 20s. Which brings you to the fourth reason, that is this the time I want to get married? Sometimes the entire pressure from the society and the parents, where women get judged that, oh, she's 26 and she's not yet married, oh, she's 29 and she's not yet married, really puts you in the burden that, okay, it's high time that, I get married. And that honestly should not be the reason that you want to get married. Finish your studies, travel the world, do whatever you want to, spend time with your parents, spend time with your friends. Spend time and do a lot of things which might really become difficult for women after they get married. Once you have a family where you really have to take care of kids, it really becomes difficult for you to plan out your life and plan everything. So take your time, take your 20s well enough, live the life you want to, because the biological clock might be ticking, but trust me, for the rest 40 years of your life, you're going to be doing the same thing. So use your time really well in your 20s. The fifth reason why you might be thinking of getting married is, I don't want to be a burden on my parents. Let me tell you honestly, you surely don't want to be a burden on your husband too. So unless you can live with or without a marriage, please do not think about getting married. Practically thinking, it's your choice whether you choose to be a working woman or a stay-at-home mom. But you have to be sure that you've equipped yourself well enough where in a case that you have to live alone tomorrow, even without a marriage, you're independent enough to do that. So please never look at it as a burden on parents. that you want to get married so that you're not a burden on them anymore, because you are surely planning to not be a burden on your husband too. So ensure that you're independent enough to do that. So point number 6. Am I ready for the change in my life after I get married? Now let's be honest and practical about this. Whether it's India or whether it's abroad, life for a woman changes after marriage. The expectations from husband, in-laws, family are a lot more from the woman than they are from the man. And as you move ahead, kids are really going to change your life. So you're going to be managing your family, you're going to be managing the kids, you're going to be managing your aspirations and work. And are you really ready for that change? Are you mentally there to adapt to that or adopt everything that is going to come around you? It is very, very important that you think about all these aspects and what do you see yourself doing in future before you decide to get married. And point number 7, am I ready to leave my past behind? And I'm going to touch upon a very sensitive topic. We girls are very emotional. You might have had a past, and it might have been a past where you've been really involved and very emotionally involved. But let's be very practical. As we move ahead in life, we have to be very ready and very prepared that we are not going to be emotional, that we are going to leave the burden of our past in the past and move on to a better life and be happy about it. Now let's move on to the next segment. Let's assume you found the right guy, and you're like head over heels in love with him and you really want to go ahead and get married. There is still a long list of questions that you want to ask here. Question number 1. Does he bring out the best in me or does he really bring out the worst in me? We girls have always been vulnerable, and there are times that we carry on with relationships even when we can see the red flags, even when we can see that there's something not right. But we just think, that okay, this will change, things might get better. But are these red flags really something that you really need to pay attention to? Does he bring out the worst in you? There are fights in every relationship, but does the fight really make you feel miserable about yourself? And that's a big red flag. That's not where you want to be. Trust me, this is only going to get worse as you go ahead. So this is something that you need to take care of right from the start. Point number 2. Do you accept him or does he accept you for what you are? Let's be honest and practical. There are a lot of things that we don't agree with our parents or siblings or even our friends, right? But then you do genuinely feel for them and you decide to still go ahead with them. So there will always be a negotiable checklist and a non-negotiable checklist. And as long as your negotiable checklist, which is your checklist with things that you're willing to accept with that person and willing to put up with even if you don't agree, is longer than your non-negotiable checklist, I think it's a go ahead. Question number 3. Are you marrying somebody that you're not happy with, but you're worried you might not meet somebody else in future? And trust me, this is the most messed up reason to ever be with somebody. Just because you've spent a couple of years or couple of months with somebody, you cannot honestly mess up 40 years of your life because of that. If you're not happy with that person now, there is no reason why this would change in future, and there's no reason why you should be marrying that person or even considering marrying him just because you might not meet somebody else. You're better off alone than being with somebody who's actually going to be a burden on your head. Question number 4. Do you trust him blindly? And this is very, very important. Sometimes we tend to overlook certain things that make us insecure, certain things that make us uncomfortable. We believe that over a period of time, maybe once you get married, that's going to get better. But no. You have to ensure that you actually trust the person that you're getting married, because trust me, things that seem small during relationships might just get a little worse as you go forward. Question number 5. Do you believe that you're giving a little way too much in the relationship? Now, no relationship is equal. There will always be somebody who gives too much in certain cases and the other person gives too much in certain cases. But do you feel that you are the person who are constantly giving in too much? And that might be because you might be behaving a little needy at times. Because when you're needy, you tend to give in too much to please the other person. And if this is a situation, trust me, it's not a healthy situation to be in. So if you feel that you are giving in too much to a relationship, a lot more, then that might be close to an equal equation, then you really need to rethink this relationship. Question number 6. Do you think you will be able to adopt to his family and friends? More so in the Indian context. In India, you do not just marry the guy, you marry his entire family and extended family and friends. And that is something that you're never going to be able to avoid. So unless both of you all are on the same page in terms of the differences that you might have in future with the family or the extended family, please ensure that you talk out about these things right at the start. Question number 7. Does communication with him make you anxious? If you at any point in time believe there are certain things that you cannot convey, that there are certain things that make you nervous whenever you have to discuss it with him, this is an absolute red flag. If you're not able to discuss this even at the start of a relationship, life is only going to get complicated as you go further. And let me tell you this honestly, it's a fact. You're going to have bigger issues to deal with. You're going to have bigger context to deal with. Extended family, children, decisions around finances, decisions around household chores. These conversations are going to be even tougher conversations than the ones that you are having right now. So please ensure that communication isn't something that is a red flag for you guys. Question number 8. And I personally believe this is the most important one. Does he respect your family and friends? A lot of times I have seen women around me who have had issues with visiting their parents or having certain friends that they wanted to be friends with. And this is something which is really serious. You've had people in your life before the person came into your life. They've been a part of your life, they've contributed to your life, and there is no reason why somebody should try to distance you from them. So unless your partner or your spouse respects your parents, family as much as you do, it's something that you need to discuss. Question number 9. Does he respect your aspirations and your career? It is very, very important that both of y'all are on the same page as far as what your career aspirations are too. As you get married and as you enter your life further, there are going to be decisions where one of your careers is going to take a priority, or your aspirations might be something that's going to impact both your lives. And it is very important that your spouse or your partner also understands what you want to do with life, what your dreams and aspirations are, and he also prioritizes them as much as he prioritizes his own. Question number 10. Another important one. Am I secure as an individual even beyond this relationship? When you start revolving your identity only around that relationship, it's a big, big red flag. You have to feel secure independently as a person even beyond this relationship. This relationship shouldn't really be driving your identity, because that means some other person or somebody else is controlling your thoughts or what you want to do in life. So unless you have good control on yourself, I think it's a red flag. Question number 11. Am I ready to leave his past behind? We girls tend to overthink. We really want to overanalyze things which don't exist. You have a past, he might have a past, and you have to be ready to leave both your past behind as you move into this. And you do not want to keep going back to it and let it cause problems in your relationship in future. So please give it a thought and tell yourself and ask yourself rather if you are ready to leave his past behind. Question number 12. Will I resent him if I have to compromise in the relationship? In any relationship, even whether it's with your family or your friends, there are going to be compromises. There are going to be situations when both of you all disagree. But will compromising with him make you unhappy, or would you be able to accept it? This is very, very important, because as you decide to get married, there are a lot of areas, or there are going to be a lot of situations in which both of you all will disagree on things. And in such situations, you all have to choose to disagree and not let that make you miserable. So do consider these questions before you get married. And if you are a mother, do share this list of questions with your daughter if she's looking to get married. I hope this checklist helps you. But let me also leave you with a parting thought that marriage is not your identity or the ultimate goal of your life. So if you at any point in time don't feel like getting married, it is perfectly okay. Unless all these things on your checklist are ticked, it's perfectly fine if you don't get married. If you like this video, do like, share, comment and subscribe. You can also follow me on my Instagram handle LiveFearless Official. If you have any questions, do comment below. Until then, live fearless.